colorism does exist.
It's a constant competition to see what race is better.
Everyone's scared of something that's different than them.
I think everyone's been racist.
That's definitely gray.
Do you feel as though that there is a such thing as reverse racism?
No.
No.
When people always say like, well, there's no such thing as reverse racism, the same way that women can't be sexist.
Reverse racism isn't me saying, oh, like, I don't like white people, or like, I don't even know.
I think reverse racism is specifically anyone of color holding any type of negative feelings towards white people.
Okay.
Yes.
Racism is a systemic thing. Like, the education system is racist.
Okay.
Like, the the prison industrial complex is racist. These are all systemic things. Like, reverse racism, like, us people of color would have to be empowered to be like, okay, well, white people, like, I'm gonna just put all y'all in prison just cause, like, you're wearing khakis. Or like, you have a yacht, so like, that means you're like, I don't know, entitled.
The thing is, at the end of the day, like, when there's racism coming from whites, it is systematic and it oppresses people. It causes issues like poverty and lower levels of education and, you know, a lot of disadvantages for people of color and for minorities, whereas for a white person, if they feel like someone's been racist towards them, all it results in is them having hurt feelings. If that's your experience with racism, what are you complaining about?
Now, how do you think someone can, like, prove that they're not racist? Like, how could Donald
How
Sterling
can you prove you're
have
not
proven
racist?
that he wasn't
Oh,
racist?
after all, I don't think there's much you could have. Did you hear that tape? I heard that tape.
I heard that too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess trying to prove that you're not racist, maybe overdoing it. I guess little things would help.
I feel like going out of your way to prove you're not racist, like, I feel like you might think of yourself as racist on the inside. You have to prove that much. You have to prove you don't hate a race that much. Like, you either did something really screwed up or you are just screwed up.
It makes it look like you're kind of trying to hide something if you really need to prove the fact that you aren't a racist. I think it should just be, you should live your life on a daily basis to show that you have respect for all people.
Well, nowadays, I think it's because we live in a more PR kind of politically correct culture where like the slightest thing you say or you don't say is going to be misconstrued.
See, that's the thing, like sometimes you're in the zone and you say something but you mean something different.
Okay.
So, I don't know, I try not to really judge people by what they say, or, you know, because I don't know where they're coming from.
That's
you know,
very true.
Sometimes you gotta walk in everybody's shoes and you gotta know why they're coming from that aspect.
I think a lot of times that there is nuance, and I think that there is a difference between doing something that is racist and reinforce racist attitudes and being a racist. Now, that's hard to explain because a lot of times, you know, when you have to give the caveat of like, well, not all men do this, not all white people do this, immediately the person with privilege in that situation is going to shimmy their way into that group and be like, well, clearly they're not talking about me.
Right.
Which then really gets rid of the chance for accountability. You know, when someone points out that as a white person you've done something that's racist, the point is not to shame you for the entire history of racism. It's just to say, hey, you're really impeding progress here. You know, you're really reinforcing these attitudes and you're placing stigma and you're othering people. Don't do that.
See, that's kind of the thing. You don't know who's going to be racist and who's going to be open, or who's not going to discriminate. And I guess that's kind of the fear that goes along with racism. Is just, it could happen at any time. It could be anyone, because you don't know their background. You don't know what they're raised with. You don't know what their opinions are. Everyone has their own opinion.
That's true.
I met somebody here when we're at NYU and we're meeting a lot of new people, and I met somebody who kind of would make comments under their breath to me about people that they saw on the street. And, you know, we don't know those people. We've only just passed by them, and I think that that's kind of, that's
kind
about
of
racist.
I think racism kind of starts, like, it's solely by appearance. It might not even be a comment, but if you see someone that looks at someone of the other race on the street and kind of like shies away from them, that's racist without actually acting upon it. It's just something small like that. That can be just as hurtful as actual name calling.
When you look at someone, we're sort of taught in our society to scan them. You know, what is their race? What is their gender? What is their socioeconomic status? What is their education level? These are things that people automatically assume, which is, of course, based off of the default. The default is white, male, you know, and if you're not those things and you don't match up, now all of a sudden you are sort of the exception to the rule, and there has to be space made for you. And in Western culture, we're not very good at making space for people, or Native Americans would not be on reservations, let's be serious.
Yes. Racism is a huge problem here, and I think it will be, but I'm not necessarily sure how it'll go away. I think it's something that, it's something about time. Like 40 years ago, we still had horrible segregation, and that's gone away for the most part. There's still racism present in people's minds, but it will fade with time, I'm hoping.